Hello, hello. Welcome back to Homeschooling with Heart. My name is Stef. If this is your first time here, I'm a homeschooling grandmother to one 7-year-old grandson. Yes, and we are going into our second year in the fall of homeschooling. I'm not going in confident. No, I'm not. I still have butterflies. I thought I would be like more, hey, I'm raring to go. And I do have some of that, but I still have the kind of little butterflies going on. Because like I said, before, I haven't taught second grade, first grade. you know. But once we got our footing and everything started going great, So I'm going in, with a smile and positive attitude. But I'm definitely not going in confident. No, no, no. Because if I go in confident, nothing's going to work. All right. So today I am going to answer the question that I am asked the most when it comes to our language arts program and 5 in a row. The question that I get asked is, how is learning language arts through literature different than 5 in a row? Or how does learning language arts through literature pair with 5 in a row? Is it too much? Is it too much literature? Is it too much going on? Well, I'm going to answer those questions right after the YouTube second. So if you're into that, if you want to join me, meet me on the other side of this YouTube second. Thank you so much for meeting me on the other side of the YouTube second. Okay, so you guys know that we started using learning language arts through literature back in January. If you're a subscriber, you know kind of how things came about. So this is the program that we use. This is our phonics program. This is our reading program, spelling, grammar, vocabulary, handwriting, critical thinking, some critical thinking. This is what we use for all of them. Remi has done very well with the phonics and reading and spelling and grammar, everything. With this program, he has done very well in the reading aspect of this, the way that they use the phonics cards, the way that they have the student start blending. It has just really worked for him in our homeschool. Now, everybody's different, and every curriculum is different. What works for me and mine may not work for you and yours, and you guys know I had to say that. All right, so the way that we have our language arts program, our 5 in a row program set up are totally different. And the reason being is with the learning language arts through literature program, we're using these little readers. So these are his short vowel readers. And then these are his bridge readers. And then this will be his long vowel readers. So the teacher's guide takes me through the short vowel, bridging him to the long vowel reading, also the spelling. So this is the literature that we're really focused on in learning language arts through literature. Now, Ferdinand comes in, okay? Literature like this comes into play maybe once every few weeks. And it comes into play with me reading the story and then handing the book over to Remington and him retelling the story. And, if he can read some of the words, he'll read some of the words. But him retelling the story in his own words And that kind of lets me know, okay, he's comprehending what I'm telling. And sometimes the story changes, you know, by the look of the pictures. But, you know, basically he stays on, you know, he stays on the line, you know, he stays on the storyline. I will say, okay, now that you've retold the story, go and find a comma for me, you know. And so then he would look through the book and he would find the commas in this paragraph here. And I would say, okay, what do the commas mean? To make sure that he understands kind of our lesson that we're learning through the week. And he would say, okay, yeah, it means to pause. And so when we go to read maybe a Bob book, when he sees that comma, he pauses. Or when he sees that exclamation point, he says the word. He knows that exclamation point's coming up. So he will, you know, get excited with the word, emphasis on the word, because he knows, you know, it's an exclamation point. So that is where the literature part comes in, or the outside literature part comes in with learning language arts through literature. Now, the way that we use 5 in a row, because 5 in a row is it's a good curriculum. I think that they suggest, and so don't like quote me because I don't know like 100%, but I'm pretty sure that they say, you know, maybe an additional math and phonics, you know, reading program to go along with this. But the way that Remi and I use this, say he picks out Katie and the Big Snow. Okay, so we're reading Katie and the Big Snow. So I will go into the 5 in a row here, and I will pick something usually based on one of his questions. But if he doesn't have any questions, then I kind of fish a little bit. I kind of fish a little bit, you know, to see what piques his interest. And so I could start with the social studies, you know, relationships, or street signs. And if he says, "Oh yeah, I have a question about street signs," there we go. Okay, so then we start talking about the street signs in the book. Then that can lead to, well, he'll have a question about, well, what does a stop sign look like? And then we'll be talking about the shape, you know, of a stop sign. And then we'll be talking about the shape of the yield sign, you know. So that leads to the shapes of, you know, the street signs. So then we're talking about shapes at that point. We're going to take what we've learned from the first day, and we're going to kind of carry that over into our second day of reading, you know, if we were reading Katie and the Big Snow. And maybe we talk about, in language arts, maybe we hit on the personification of a character, you know, an object taking on a personality, knowing that, you know, she can't really talk or speak. And then he knows from his language arts program, because he's learned through that program, how to tell if a story is make-believe, true, you know, could it be true? You know, he's learning fiction, nonfiction. So we're not coming out and saying this is fiction and this is nonfiction and it just is what it is. It is, how do you know that this is not real? How do you know that this is real? What would give you clues that this is not real? So for me, that is important, and that's going to be an important a skill for him to take with him, a learned applied skill, so that when he is reading things as he gets older, he can differentiate between fiction and nonfiction. Well, we hope. Anyway, but you know, you guys know what I mean. So I'm not just sitting there going, okay, this is nonfiction, this is fiction, this is nonfiction, this is fiction. He's actually learning to learn. And so that's why I believe that 5 in a row and learning language arts through literature pair up nicely. They kind of work together, in my opinion, and in my homeschool, that's how they work together. And also, the unit study aspect. You guys know he thought my unit studies were boring, so he didn't want to do my unit studies. These he has found in this literature. We have found books that he can relate to: Madeline, Papa Piccolo, Storm in the Night. There were the Night of the Moon Jellies. So there were some literature, the picture books that I would have never have thought to bring into our homeschool. And Five in a Row has helped me with that. So now he's also reading stories that he can, or we're also reading stories that he can relate to. And then we just kind of go off of either, we may have a child-led couple of weeks, or he may not really be interested in the story, and we just do a few things out of Five in a Row. We may not do Five in a Row one week, especially if we have maybe the a heavy language arts week, or we're just both not really into the week, right? We're just kind of doing what we got to do to get by. So anyway, that's where I think the two programs mesh well with each other, because they're both literature, and one is doing one thing and the other is doing a totally different thing. But our homeschool kind of runs with that literature aspect that I am looking for our homeschool. And that's Maverick saying hello. Y'all hear him. Anyway, because that goes into what we used in first grade, Book Shark, right? And so he was learning history through literature. So our homeschool is, becoming very literature based, which is what I was seeking and hoping that he would find interesting. Will he find that interesting the further we go? I hope so, because he's being exposed to it at such a young age. I hope so. I hope that we continue down this path. So I hope that I was able to answer questions for you. I hope that I didn't bounce all over the place like I can typically do. And I hope that, I hope that you got some information that you were able to use from this video today. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please feel free to leave them at the bottom. We love hearing from you guys. Until we meet again, be good to each other.